Hi traders, welcome back to another Pine Script lesson. Today's video is going to be covering how to use the 3commas third-party API with Binance using TradingView alerts. Now that's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but stick with me and I'll guide you through this today. Don't worry, it's not as hard as it sounds. So before we begin, here is a quick script I knocked up over the past couple of days playing around with 3commas and trying to get a profitable strategy. So I have a profitable strategy here. Technically speaking, this is profitable. It's returned a 43% with a 9% drawdown and has a profit factor of 1.6. But this strategy is not ideal. You would have theoretically made a lot more money just buying and holding this market instead of running this strategy. But it is a profitable strategy. And the strategy itself is not necessarily relevant for today's lesson because it's all about connecting your scripts, your strategies with the 3commas API. And I'm just using this strategy script as an example. So before we continue, this lesson isn't going to be too heavy on the coding side of things. I'm not going to spend too much time running over what this script does. I'm just going to walk you through how to connect your Binance account to your 3commas account and then how to set up alerts on the TradingView platform to communicate with 3commas to execute entries and exits on Binance. So before we continue, this script here is very simple. It's just a standard strategy script. The only thing I've changed here is initial capital and default quantity value. That's my position size. So by default, this strategy is testing using 10,000 US dollars and my position size is 10,000 US dollars. So I'm using all of my account, 100% of my account on each trade. I'm not using margin in this example. So I'm basically just profiting off the actual percentage increases and declines in the market. So if the market goes up, like this trade, for example, we entered long at the open of this bar, we exited at the close of this bar, and that returned 28% or $78 on my account. I'll just quickly run you through what the script is actually doing, and then we'll head over to Binance and 3commas and set up our API connection. So this script is extremely simple. In fact, it's too simple. I wouldn't trade this if I were you. I would make this a little more complicated, add a few more filters. Even though it is profitable, and it's decently profitable, it only has a 43% win rate, but it has a 1.6 average risk reward. And so it is profitable. We had a 9% drawdown with a 42% gain on the 1 minute chart over the past 14 or 15 days. So that's just decently profitable. However, that's only because of the current market conditions in crypto. You see, we're in a bull market right now. If we weren't in a bull market, I doubt that this strategy would be as profitable as it is. So just keep that in mind. This is just for example purposes. But anyway, what this script is doing is when the RSI goes oversold at 30, the script waits for that bar to print, to close, to confirm that signal. And then we enter at the close of that bar. So in this example here, the RSI went oversold. This bar closed as oversold. The script entered long on the next bar, on the open of the next bar, with a 1 ATR stop loss below the entry. And so the script entered long, waited until price action retraced, got back above this 50 line on the RSI. And then when that bar closed to confirm that 50 line, the price had reclaimed the 50 mark on the RSI, we exited our position for a profit. So this is a long only strategy. We're not using margin, we're not using leverage, we're not going short, just buying dips in the market and then selling on retracements. Extremely simple script. But if there's one thing I've learned in the past 5 years of trading, it's that simple works. So that's why I've kept this script simple. You don't need to have a million indicators and a million different entry and exit reasons in order to create a profitable strategy. So here we are on the 3commas dashboard, 3commas.com. Now, I'm not going to go over how to create an account. Hopefully you can work that part out on your own. But here we are on the dashboard, and this is kind of what your account will look like before you set anything up. So today's lesson is going to be covering how to use Binance. If you don't have a Binance account, you can create an account here using their affiliate link, and then you get a free 30-day 3commas Pro subscription. But I'm assuming that most of you will already have a Binance account, so I'm not going to go over that today. We're just going to jump over to Binance and get our API key to connect to 3commas. But before we do that, we need to come down here to My Exchanges. So click on that, and then for today's lesson, we're obviously doing Binance, but there are dozens of other markets here you can choose from. It's pretty much the same process for all of them. The only thing that will be different is the interface and where you need to go to get your API key and all of that. But today we're just going to work with Binance. I'm just going to call this Binance test. And now we need to go and get our API key and our API secret. Ooh, secrets. I'm such a dork. Hang on. So here we are on Binance. I've hidden my millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin. I'm just kidding. I don't have that much, but I wish I did. So here we are on the Binance homepage. Log in your account here. And then where you need to go to get your API key is this guy up here. So hover your mouse over this icon. Come down to API management. Click on that. Let your crappy Australian internet load. And then you need to give your API key a label. So I'm just going to call this 3commas. And then I'm going to click create API. So to generate an API key, if you've set up two-factor authentication like I have, you'll need to get an email code and type in your Google verification code. So I'm going to do that now. There we go. My API key is being created. I'm going to leave this information on the screen. Normally you would blur this information. Do not give this information out to anyone else, or they have full access to your account and they can trade on your behalf and cause all kinds of mischief. But I'm going to delete this API key after I'm done, so it doesn't matter in my case. What we need to do here is copy the API key. You don't need to change any of these settings here. We just need to copy these two, API key and API secret, over into 3commas. So paste the API key in the API key box, and then paste your API secret into the API secret text box and click connect and exchange. That's simple. If you've got your API keys correctly copied, let 3commas do its thing, and pretty soon you will be connected. There we go. We are now connected to Binance, and we can set up our first trading bot. But before we do that, it's a good idea to create a paper account on 3commas so that you can do some testing, make sure everything's set up properly without risking your real money or cryptocurrency. So come up to this drop-down box here, click on settings, and then scroll down until you see paper trading. So when I created my account initially, this was turned off by default. So yours probably will be too. You need to click on this show button to create a paper account. And a paper account is basically a demo trading account like any other exchange or forex broker or stockbroker would give you. And this is just pretend money to play around with to make sure you've got everything set up correctly. So in order to tell 3commas you want to trade on your paper account and not your real account, you need to click up here on paper trading account, and that will make any bots you create operate based on this paper trading balance. So that's it. We are connected to Binance. We have everything ready to go. So last but not least, we need to set up our trading bot. So let's come over here to DCA bot. There are dozens of different ways to trade automatically through 3commas. You don't need to use TradingView. You can use their inbuilt indicators and trading conditions and smart bots. But today's lesson, we're just going to cover TradingView bots. So come over to DCA bot, click on that. And if you haven't created a 3commas bot before, your interface should look like this. It should just be blank. You need to come over here, click create bot. And by default, you will get this interface here, set on Gordon, this Gordon tab. I guess that's what 3commas named their default bot. We want to go to advanced. So click on the advanced tab here. And that will give you access to modify all of these advanced settings here. And don't worry, it's a bit overwhelming at first. Even I was like, what is all of this when I first logged in? It's a bit weird. I'm not sure why they set it up this way. But we're not going to use most of these settings. So we're basically just going to go through and turn them off. We're going to let our TradingView script determine most of these parameters. So first things first, let's start with the main settings panel. The first thing we need to do is name our bot. So I'm going to name my bot Binance test, and you can choose which account you're going to set this to. Just leave it as paper account for now. Now there's two different types of bots we can use here. We can use simple, which I believe only trades one currency pair, one crypto market. Or you can choose composite, which will trade multiple currency pairs. Today's lesson is just going to focus on simple. So make sure you've set your bot type to simple. Next up, we have our pairs. These are the pairs we can choose to trade. There's quite a few of them here. And you can trade pretty much all of these coins against Binance Coin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and US Tether. So today's example, I'm just going to focus on ADA USD Tether. We could set this to Bitcoin if we wanted to, but I'll leave it as US Tether for now because that makes our position sizing just a little bit easier. So next up, we have our strategy section. So first up, we have strategy type. Do we want to be a long bot or a short bot? Today's bot is going to be just a long bot. We're just buying the market. and selling for profit. We're not going to be short selling. The profit currency is going to be left as USD Tether. And if you're not sure what any of these settings do, they have a pretty helpful little question mark here that will give you a tooltip and links to more information on these settings. So if I don't do a good job of explaining them, make sure you click on these little question marks and go and read up on what these settings do. But we're going to leave all of this here as it is. The one thing I will do is just increase my position size. I'll just go to $100 for now. And then finally, you have your start order type. You can either use a market order, which will just enter at the current market price, or a limit order, which will obviously place a limit order at a certain price, and your order must be filled at the price you tell the bot to fill it at. Depending on what market you're trading and the liquidity of that market, it's probably a good idea to leave it on limit. But because I'm trading a top 10 crypto, I'm not too worried about limit. I can feel pretty safe trading the market price. I'm unlikely to be too affected by slippage, especially with a small order size like this. If I was trading $10,000 or more, I'd probably set it to limit. So that's our strategy settings. Your base order size is your actual position size. So when your trade is first executed, this is the initial position size that the bot will enter. Safety order size is for averaging your position. So basically, if you're using a limit, for example, and you set your buy price at, let's say, $1, you can set the bot up using these safety orders so that you first buy X amount of percentage of your position at $1, and then the bot will set limit orders up to whatever you set here. So you can have 5 different, I don't know why they call them safety trades. That put me off at first, but basically this is averaging into your position. So you could set your first position entry at $1, and then your second at 95 cents, and then your third at 90 cents, your fourth at 80 cents, and your fifth at 75 cents, for examples. That way, if the market continues lower after filling you on your first initial order, you can average your position down and get your dollar cost average down as the market goes lower, which theoretically means you can make more money if the trade goes in your favor. But to be honest with you, this is just a bit convoluted to me. I'm not sure why you would really want to do this. Certain strategies obviously would call for this. But in our case, in today's example, I'm turning all of this off. So I'm just going to set everything to 0. I'm going to set my safety order size to the minimum, which is actually $10. You can't go lower than 10. And we're not actually going to use our safety orders. We're not going to use any averaging. We're just going to have a one in, one out approach. So our script is going to enter our trades at market based on whatever price our signal is generated at. And we're going to exit our position at market as well when our take profit signal is detected. So this is how I'm setting up my bot. My strategy is long only. My profit currency is US Tether. My base order size, my position size is $100. I'm not using safety orders, so this is irrelevant. And my start order type is going to be a market order. Next up, we have our deal start condition. So there are a lot of different conditions here, inbuilt conditions based on the 3commas signals that they've created. Today, we're just going to use TradingView custom signal. So we are going to send our signals from our TradingView alerts to 3commas API, and the 3commas system is going to enter and exit our trades for us based on our TradingView signals. So make sure to set your deal start condition to TradingView custom signal. Next up, we have our take profit and our stop loss. So our script has an inbuilt stop loss, so we're not going to turn stop loss on for this lesson, and you can't turn take profit off for some reason. So how this works is when we enter our position, in this example, say we enter it at market, if you leave this as it is and you leave this as 1%, then your position will be exited if the market moves 1% into profit. Now, because our script is going to determine when to enter or exit our trades, we don't want to use a target profit percentage. Now, because there's no way to actually turn this off, I just set this to 100%. So if the coin goes up 100%, our position will be liquidated, but the odds of that are pretty slim unless you're trading a very illiquid coin, or Elon Musk comes along and buys up the entire market in one market order. This isn't going to happen. So by setting our target profit to 100%, that ensures that our target profit percent is never hit, and that lets our script determine when we enter or exit our trade. So because we've set our take profit to such a high number, our take profit type doesn't matter. So you can come and play around with these, click these question marks and read up on these settings if you want to use these settings in your bot. You also have a trailing stop, which trails your stop loss based on a percentage of price from your entry. The reason I'm not using any of this is because I can't backtest it. I don't know if it's profitable. So I want to rely on my TradingView script to make all these decisions. So we're not using take profit. We're not using stop loss because our script also has a stop loss built in. And we're not using safety orders. So all of these are turned down to their minimum value. So this whole section here is perhaps something we could cover in another lesson if you guys are interested in that. But I doubt many of you are if you're using custom TradingView scripts to manage your trades. And then finally, we have the advanced settings section. I don't touch any of this, but you can make your bot only enter trades if the daily volume is above a certain number in Bitcoin, so Bitcoin traded. So I guess you could use this as a filter to not trade this script on low volume days when there isn't much liquidity. And then we have minimum price to open deal and maximum price to open deal. They're pretty self-explanatory. These are just price filters. And then you have cooldown between deals. I'd probably set this to, because we're trading a 1 minute chart strategy, I'm going to set this to 60 seconds. That way, if something goes wrong with our script and it pumps out a bunch of signals in a row, we don't get a flood of orders going into the market. So this will only allow the script to send orders to Binance once every 60 seconds. And then we have open deals and stop. You can use this to limit how many trades your bot can take before the bot stops. I'm not going to touch anything here except for cooldown between deals or trades. So that's it. Our trading bot is now set up and ready to receive signals from our script. So I'm going to click create bot here. And I've got an error here. This setting must be greater than 0.2. So I don't know why it lets me set it to that. Let me set it to 0.21. Create bot, and this should work now. There we go. So there's so much building going on around my house at the moment. There's trucks driving past every 10 minutes. So there we go. We have our bot successfully set up and saved. Let's click start bot, and the bot is now turned on. So let's click OK, and the bot is running. So now there's just a couple more things we need to do in order to get our script to communicate with 3commas. The first thing we need to do is go and get the webhook URL. I'll leave a link to this article in the video description, but this article here will explain exactly what we need to do in order to set up our TradingView custom signals. And it also contains the webhook URL. So if we scroll down here, should be here somewhere. There it is. So we need to copy this URL, and I'm just going to open Notepad real quick, and I'm going to paste this URL into Notepad. Because now we need to go and get the actual alert commands to add to our alerts to tell the bot what to do. So this is our webhook URL, which receives our trading signals and relays that to our trading bot on 3commas. Next up, we need to go and get the actual commands we're going to use to manage our trades. So if we come back to our 3commas bot information screen here, and if you lose this screen, you can get back to it by just clicking on DCA bot over here, and then scrolling down to find your bot and just click on the name of your bot, and that will take you back to the bot information screen. And if you scroll down to the bottom of this screen, there's a whole list here of trading messages that we can send to our webhook URL, which will manage our trades for us. So the only two messages we're going to be using today are these two. So we're going to use message for deal start signal. So this is the message to initiate your trade. Remember, we set the bot up to initiate our trades at market price. So when the bot receives this message, we'll just open a trade with $100 US, which is what we set our base order size to. So when it receives this start signal, this deal start signal, it will buy 100 US tether worth of ADA. And if it receives the message to close order at market price, it will liquidate our position at the current market price. So we're going to use both of these signals here. So I'm going to copy this signal into my notepad and also this message here. And that's all we need to wrap up this lesson. So let's jump over to the TradingView charts and set up our alerts. So in order to confirm that our bot is set up properly, I'm going to get our messages here. I'm going to put this on my second screen, and I'm going to create a alert at the current market price. I'm going to turn on webhook URL. Now I've already got it saved here because I've used it in the past, but you can copy and paste that URL into this webhook input here. I'm going to turn send email off and notify on app because I don't want to be getting a message 700 times a day whenever my bot takes a trade. I'm going to title this alert just 3 commas. And the message here is where we input our commands to our bot. So the message to open a trade is this one here. So I paste that command in there, and if this alert gets triggered, it should open a trade on the bot. So let's create that alert, wait and see what happens. I may need to move this alert to the current price, 8368, save the alert. There we go, the alert has been triggered. Let's go and check our bot. So here's our events messages. We're on our paper trading account, so it should have opened a paper trading position. Let me refresh the page and see what happens. There we go. So our trade has been initialized. We've bought 120 ADA at the market price. Perfect. There we go. So now let's test the close trade command. We'll come back here, set a new alert. Everything's all right. Make sure your webhook URL is inputted there. Paste our exit command into here and click create. Now that alert's been triggered. Let's go back to 3 commas, refresh the page, and there we go. We have closed our trade at market for a 4-cent loss. And so our bot is working. Perfect. The last thing we need to do is set up our TradingView script alerts. So let's go over to the Pine editor and do that, and then we can wrap up this lesson. So you'll notice on my screen that I have all these messages drawing, these text messages drawing all over my charts. So these are strategy comments that occur within my Pine code. So I'm not going to go over what this script does because this lesson will be too long. I may cover this in a future lesson if I get time, but I'll definitely be putting this script up in the mastery course. If you want to check that out, just head to pinescriptmastery.com, and I have a bunch of profitable strategies over there, strategy scripts that you could use these command functions with 3 commas to trade crypto automatically and profitably. So the way I've set up my 3 commas trading strategy script, my TradingView strategy script, is I'm using the strategy.entry and exit functions like you normally would, but I'm also including a comment here, and this comment contains my bot command. So whenever a trade is entered or exited, I can use this strategy comment, this order comment, to tell my bot what to do. And the way this would work is I'd come up here, I'd select my script from this condition drop-down box, and whenever a order is triggered by this script, I can use one of these special placeholder tags to reference my order comment. So if I click on this little question mark here, TradingView has a list of special placeholders we can use to reference in our alerts. If I come down to strategy, what we want to reference here is our strategy.order.comment special placeholder. And this returns the comment of the executed order, the string used in the comment parameter in one of the function calls generating orders. So strategy.entry, exit, or order. So normally this placeholder would be useless, but because we are specifying our strategy order comment here, the parameter in our function call, we can reference that in our alert message. So by pasting that special placeholder in here, that is the equivalent of pasting in my bot entry or exit command like this. Now there is one thing I had to do in order to make this comment work, and that's use a bunch of what's called escape characters, string escape characters. So you can see in this message here, my alert command is on one line, but I've had to use a bunch of special escape characters in order to make this string compile. So if I remove this message here, and this one down here, and I paste in my bot command into this comment parameter, if I just try to save the script now, I'll get a bunch of errors because the script won't compile because of the way PineScript interprets or compiles our code. You can see that all of these messages here have quotation marks, and in PineScript you can only write out a string, so this comment parameter can only be one single string, and that string must be contained between 2 of these quotation marks. But this message has multiple quotation marks. So the way we fix that is using the / escape character. So by putting a backslash in front of all of these quotation marks, this is telling PineScript that we want these quotation marks to be included in the string. And you can see that as I add these backslashes in front of our quotation marks, the color coding of this line changes as we are turning this into one single string by using this escape character on our quotation marks. So in order to make our command compile, let me just delete all this again, paste in our entry command, and just add all of these backslashes in front of all of these quotation marks, like so. And then I'm also going to add the new line character. That's represented by a backslash and then the character N. That tells PineScript to create a new line, or just like pressing enter if you were typing this message out. So by adding a new line to the end of each line here, and then removing all of the spaces here to turn this into a single line of code. Pull that back as well. Now if I copy this line of code or cut that line of code and paste it in between these two quotation marks, we have our alert message, our bot command, written out on a single line of code that will compile when we hit save. There we have it, just like magic. So I'm going to do the same thing for our exit order. I'm going to copy my exit command, paste that underneath this command here, put my backslashes in front of every quotation mark, like so. And bear with me here. There we go. Then I'm going to add new line characters. I'll just copy this and paste it on the end of every line, and then backspace all of my spaces like that, and then cut this whole line of code, paste it into the comment parameter of my strategy.exit function. Now if I save the script, whenever a long signal is detected or a exit signal is detected, the script is going to include our bot message, that's this long string here, as our strategy order comment. And now if I come up here and I set an alert, select my script, make sure you've got your webhook inputted here. And all we need to do here is change this to strategy.order.comment with two curly brackets on either side. And there we have our bot command alert message. So if I change this to 3 commas entry, create that alert. Now repainting is not an issue because my code handles that. We use the bar state is confirmed. So this script, even though it repaints, it doesn't affect our trading signals. That's something I cover in the mastery course as well, if you're unfamiliar with repainting or you struggle with repainting. But that's it, we're done. So these strategy scripts, when you set alerts on them, an alert will be triggered for both of these entry and exit functions. So if an entry is detected, an alert will trigger, and if an exit is detected, an alert will also trigger. So we only need to set one alert for this script. And as long as you set the alert to open-ended or have a long expiry on it, depending on what TradingView plan you're on, then every time an order is detected on your chart, that command will be sent to the bot and your positions will be entered or exited accordingly. So that's it. I hope you found this lesson interesting. I know it's quite an advanced one. I hope I didn't lose you there. I know this is a bit advanced compared to what we've covered in the past, but I've had a lot of requests for this material, and so I thought it was about time I created a lesson on it. And now you can take this information and go and play with it with your own scripts. And just really quickly before I wrap up the lesson, if you're not using a strategy script, you can still use indicator scripts to send your bot commands. All you need to do is, instead of this strategy.entry function, if you're using this on an indicator script, a regular study script, you can just add the new alert function under wherever your entry signals or exit signals are detected. You can just paste this command straight into this new alert function. So you can set your message and your frequency. So I'm going to set my frequency to alert frequency once per bar, and I'm going to paste my command in there. Get rid of these extra quotation marks. And now if I save the script, that will also compile without any errors. And if you were using this on an indicator script, say I wanted to change this to study, and you remove all of your strategy references, so all of these strategy.position sizes and all of that. You can use this alert function to do exactly the same thing on a study script. So this is how you would trigger commands to your bot in your code instead of having to come up here and write the message out in your alert message text box. And finally, after you've played around with your paper trading account and you've got your bot working how you would like it to flip it over to real money trading, it's really simple. All you do is click on this button up here, and now the bot will execute your trades with your actual real Binance trading balance. Pretty simple. But make sure you've got everything set up and working properly on your paper trading account first to avoid any nasty problems. So there we have it. That brings me to the end of the lesson. We have a profitable TradingView strategy script entering and exiting trades through 3commas third-party API using alert commands, and we've had a 43% return using this script between the 1st of February and the 17th of February. So 43% return over 17 days. It's not bad. Although, as I said at the start of the video, you would have made more money just buying and holding this market at the moment. But anyway, that's for this lesson. Oh. What's wrong? What's this thing? Oh, it's scary, huh? It's bright and green. Oh, poor man. Go on now. Get out of here, you little techie.